and welcome back to the Cover 3 podcast here on CBS Sports. That's Tom Fornelli. That's Danny Kanell. I'm Chip Patterson coming to you live at youtube.com/cover3 and everywhere you get your podcasts on demand. Thanks for hanging out. Smash that subscribe, smash that like, and come and join us in the chat, a.k.a. the Cover 3 tailgate, where they're trying to talk about college football playoff scenarios. That was for last night. No, today we are getting into the games. It is a Wednesday. That means we're getting into big game breakdowns. We'll be going inside the matchup for USC at Oregon, Oklahoma playing host to Mizzou, Pitt going to play the Ramblin' Wreck of Georgia Tech, and BYU trying to hold on to its spot in the Big 12 title race. Of course, we got to get our market report. You guys are buzzing about, whatever the future of AI evaluations are. What about the future evaluations of these Heisman Trophy candidates? Huh? What about the future evaluations of these teams trying to play for conference titles and national titles? Day Trade Danny will give us that and so much more. Let's not wait any longer. We love taking this time to talk about these games with you. We call it Big Game Breakdown. Let's begin. Big game. Biggest game of the week. It's going to be on CBS, 3:30 p.m. Eastern time from out at Autzen Stadium in Eugene. You can see it on America's Most Watched Network, the network of stars, CBS. You can stream it on Paramount Plus, a mountain of entertainment. USC at Oregon. Fun game. I mean, just on its face, fun game. I would be excited about this regardless of their rankings, but we do have real stakes here. Danny, when we're starting to peel this apart, where do you want to start? Because I think that we've got a couple layers to this in terms of a lot of injury issues to address that are going to be very important in this one. Two really fun quarterbacks with high ceilings, offenses that don't mirror each other at all. In fact, it's more of like an inverse in terms of what they want to do. What stands out to you as some of the most important parts in this matchup?
So I think this is a battle of former Pac-12 foes who is going to look like a battle of Big Ten opponents. And that's what Oregon wants to do. Because, you would think when you look at the Big Ten, who leads the conference in rushing, it'd be Michigan or Iowa. No, it's the Oregon Ducks. That's what Dan Lanning, and I think this is a direct byproduct of his physical nature. I mean, I heard you guys talking about it. I think I was in the reaction show after they had all those injuries going into the Iowa game. I was like, what did they do on the bye week? I think they want to have a physical mentality, and they want to run the football. And I think that's what, and Lincoln Riley has made it known after they beat Michigan. Hey, we're in the Big Ten. People said we couldn't win in the Big Ten. This will be the biggest test yet that USC has faced since Notre Dame on the road. I think this is going to be a physical matchup. And I think that's the biggest question mark for me because USC has passed a couple tests against them. Iowa coming back from down 14. That was impressive. But this one on the road against physical team, how do they stack up against that run game? Some of that's due to injuries that Oregon is having with Corian Moore and others, some of their weapons on the outside. But that to me is the kind of the focal point of this game.
I think, you mentioned these are two former Pac-12 teams, just some fun little history between them because, for a lot of these games in the Big Ten now with these West Coast teams, there's no history between them, but these two have played. USC has not won at Autzen Stadium since 2011, but that's only a span of 3 games, so it's not like it's that
6
long.
out of 7? Do I have that right?
6 out of 7 and 7 of the last 9 Oregon has won.
All right, now we can officially retire it. Now that we have old men doing it, it's done.
The joy in your eyes on that one.
I don't really want to do this segment anymore after that. Anyways, I do think one of the key things we have to talk about here are the injuries. Like, we don't know the status of DeCorian Moore. We don't know the status of Gary Bryant. We know that Oregon got Kenyon Sadiq and Alex Harkey back for the Minnesota game last week. As for USC, I mean, the thing about playing Big Ten football and being physical is physical football leads to injuries. And last week in USC's win over Iowa, Kamari Ramsey was in the injury tent. Defensive tackle Kashawn Silver was in the injury tent. Elijah Page, who had missed time during the season already, was in the injury tent. We don't know what the full status of those three will be for this game, and we won't know until Saturday because the Big Ten doesn't, put out injury reports until Saturday morning. So it'll be interesting to see, because I do think health will matter, especially for USC when you're missing two of those guys on defense and you're starting left tackle. If they're not at full go and you're going on the road to play this game against a good Oregon team, that kind of puts you in a tough spot. And we have seen, like, USC did not have Kamari Ramsey in the Illinois game, and Illinois just picked on his replacement the entire day, and it was very, very effective for him. So that's going to be a key thing. I mean, if you get Kenyon Sadiq on USC's backup safety, it's going to be a long damn day for the USC Trojans defense. So I think that matters a lot. And as you mentioned, Danny, like, output-wise, these two offenses are very similar. Just USC does it more in the passing game. Oregon does it more on the ground. And I am worried because if I'm USC, there's been a common theme for my team all season. It's not we're a Big Ten tough football team. It's just we're a lot better at home than we are on the road. Like, they beat Purdue by 16, but if you've seen how Purdue has fared against everybody else, beating them by 16 is not that impressive. They lost to Illinois. They lost to Notre Dame. They beat Nebraska, but that was after Dylan Raiola broke his leg and missed pretty much the entire second half of that game, and they were losing before that injury happened. They were able to come back afterwards. So they have not looked good on the road at all. I mentioned they have not been very good at Autzen Stadium in recent years. And if you look at Jaden Maiava's home road splits, like, he has not been fantastic the last few weeks, period. But if you look at him on the home and road, like, he has been so much better at home. Like, his completion rate drops from 74.5% at home to 57.4 on the road. His yards per attempt goes from 10.7 to 8.2. His touchdown rate goes like it shrinks like 3 times what it is at home. And his interception rate more than doubles. Like, it is not good. So this is a tough place for them to play. If they're able to go on there on the road in Autzen, they're going to have to play good, clean football. They're going to have to take care of the football. And Jade Maiava has shown an inability to do that in a lot of key spots this year. So it's a really difficult test. But I think what we're going to need to see is whether or not the USC run defense can hold up against this Oregon rushing offense, because, as Danny mentioned, it's not just the best in the Big Ten. It is quite literally one of the best in the country.
18 touchdowns to 6 interceptions on the season, 9.5 yards per attempt, completion percentage of 66.8. Tom just gave you the home road splits. What about the season as a whole? Because Jaden Maiava has not been a main character in the quarterback discussion. He has not been bad. We haven't vilified him either. Has it been a success?
He's been better than Miller Moss. It's hard to say it's been a failure, but, like, he has not been the problem is he's getting compared to, like, Lincoln's past quarterbacks who are all winning Heismans. He's not that guy. He's been perfectly good. He's been one of the best quarterbacks in the Big Ten. He's just not playing at an elite level that you typically expect from a Lincoln Riley quarterback. But we haven't seen that in the last few years. Like, there's a reason he replaced Miller Moss. And there's a reason I don't think USC is upset to have him over Miller Moss.
What do you think?
I think I don't want to say Jag plus. I think he's good.
Top 10 in passer rating nationally, but
Yeah,
he hasn't been Fernando Mendoza. He hasn't
Right.
been Julian Sayin. CJ Carr's late season surge has changed it. He doesn't have the wow factor of a DeMond Williams or a Diego Pavia, but he's got 2 good wide receivers, and he does a pretty good job, especially at home, of being able to find them in the right spots.
He doesn't have the big win on the road, which he could hear. Like, this would be a good separator for him, because I thought he played pretty good against Notre Dame for a few quarters, and then just kind of couldn't get it closed out at the end. So I think if you ask Lincoln Riley, I think he's pleased. I mean, I'm sure there's always, like, he's not a number 1 overall pick and a Heisman Trophy winner, but I think very clearly he's an upgrade from Miller Moss.
We'll say, though, like, it's not as if Dante Moore's lighting the world on fire.
Right.
I mean, there's a reason Oregon's kind of been leaning into the run game lately, and it's not just the injuries to the receivers. Like, if you look at Dante Moore, he made, like, going back to the Penn State game, he wasn't spectacular, but he was pretty damn good considering the environment, considering the opponent he was playing. But since then, it's been very up and down. He was bad against Indiana. He was bad against Wisconsin. He was bad against Iowa. And
Till the last drive.
Till the last drive. And then he was great last week against Minnesota. So which dude do we see this week? Because Dante, like, for me, when I watch Dante Moore, when he rolls out of the pocket, he's very good. He's very dangerous. But when you keep him in the pocket, his accuracy kind of just goes way off. Like, he misses guys when he's standing in the pocket. So if you're USC, you have to keep him in the pocket and force him to make those throws down the field. So I don't really look at either of these quarterbacks as being somebody that I fully trust right now. So for a huge game like this, it could come down to which one of these guys doesn't make the mistake.
Danny, we were one of the things that Tom and I were discussing was the way that Oregon's defense has been successful, because it is, statistically a very good pass defense. It is a group that has done a little bit of a, not totally bend but don't break. That might not be fair, but obviously extremely effective for being able to play complementary football to that run game. How do you think Oregon is built to be able to sustain, what USC is going to provide on paper, but then also what they might provide in practice in terms of an offensive threat?
So I think for Oregon, I think this is what they're missing with DeCorian Moore out is, they kind of have to do it the hard way.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have now Sadiq is a threat. He can be the big playmaker without question. But that's where I think they're lacking somewhat, is getting that big play so that it becomes more harder, puts more pressure on Dante Moore, to really come up with a consistent play that you're asking a first-year starting quarterback to do.
Yeah.
What was the question again? Was it about?
It was about Oregon's pass defense. Like,
okay.
You're going to be dealing with two really, really good wide receivers.
Yeah.
And Oregon's pass defense has not gotten carved up, though Fernando Mendoza probably did the closest thing to it, right? Though some of those throws and some of those catches, you still had Elijah Surratt back there. They had some statement drives in the first half of that game, I think. But
but I do think this is where your defensive front seven needs to help out your secondary. Because if Jade Maeva does have time, he's proven capable of being able to carve you up. And with those two wide receivers, you can get burned. So I think this is one where you'll see them, dial up some pressures, try to confuse him. And they're going to have to take some risks at some point by putting your corners in an island. And you're going to have to pick and choose those and just kind of hope you don't give up the massive play. You have to come up, make a tackle on a crossing route, whatever it is, and maybe defend one. So I think that's where. So I don't think anybody stacks up great against these wide receivers.
You know what this is for Oregon's defense on Saturday, Chip?
What is it?
It's a gut check Saturday. Because here's the thing, like the key differentiator between these teams, I mentioned they're very similar outputs on offense. They're two of the most explosive offenses in the country. It's just defensively, Oregon is the best defense in the country as far as limiting explosive plays. But the caveat on that is, when you go back to watch the game against Indiana, which was the best quarterback and the best set of receivers that Oregon has faced, they were able to put the ball down the field vertically and get some explosive plays in that game. So that tells me that Jaden Maeva, Jacoby Lane, and Mekhi Lemon will probably be able to hit some of the bigger plays that, Minnesota and Iowa and those teams haven't. So it will be very interesting to see. We will find out this weekend if Oregon is as good as those numbers suggest, or if those numbers have been more of a byproduct of the offenses and the limited offenses that they have faced.
God, I love a good gut check Saturday.
Today, 3:30, HQ, a little sit down with Mekhi Lemon.
Okay.
Ask him what he thinks about Oregon secondary. See if we get any bulletin board material for Dan Lanning and company.
Lincoln Pass.
He just comes out and be like, these guys suck.
I've interviewed Lincoln earlier in the season, so maybe they were just like, all right, we'll give you a player this time, which is always a little bit dicey. Well, I always get nervous talking to players because you don't know if
3-word answers.
Yes, no.
Yeah.
Oh, crap. We're done after 3 questions. Because I like to try to listen and then have more of a conversation. But if there's no conversation, then it can end really quickly.
I don't know if anybody has ever mistaken Lincoln for somebody who tries to butter up the media, So when the Ice King does show a little bit of warmth, I take note. I think Lincoln likes you.
Yeah, good conversation.
You'll have good conversations.
Yeah.
I look forward to seeing. I guess the Mekhi Lemon interview will also be part of college football pregame.
Think so. I think
awesome.
That's the plan.
We'll be sure to keep our eyes peeled for that. Danny, are you surprised at the spread here? We're going to do obviously best bets for Thursday, 11 a.m. Eastern time when we do our Week 13 locks. But 9.5 for a game.
It feels big.
Feels big.
Especially for a team that lost at home to Indiana. But I do think USC struggles on the road that Tom documented have a lot to do with this.
Yeah. Yep. Any
When do
other
you think
thoughts?
we'll find out? Like the Decoria Moore injury, I mean, there was all kind of stuff swirling that he was done for the year. Do we know anything about what it is even?
I have seen photos of him walking out to practice that could be lies about when that photo was taken. You know, like it's, hey, look, it's Dak coming out to practice. Oh, look at this like Instagram photo. And I'm choosing not to go down that rabbit hole right now. As I said earlier, I'm still working on my timeline cleanse from Virginia Tech, quote unquote insiders. You know, now that that's done, I can flush out all of the attorneys and, you know, business bigwigs, self-proclaimed business bigwigs from the Hokie community. Congratulations, James Franklin had his press conference today. It'll be an interesting one to see if USC is going to be able to get back in here. I understand. To me, do you know why I understand the injuries? The spread makes sense because not of Oregon's injuries, but because of USC's injuries. Because I'm just like, oh gosh, a lot of players on defense into the injury tent, as you mentioned. I went to look at Lincoln Riley's Tuesday availability. Is going to shock you. He didn't have any updates. I know this is extremely surprising, but a lot of names there on defense that are going to be playing a little bit hobbled. The only certainty he gave us is Wayman Jordan is not back yet. So,
I expect those guys are going to play, but my concern is particularly with Ramsey and Page. Like they've been banged up all year. So it's like, even if they're playing, you know that they're not at 100%, which could be a problem in a matchup against a team with this much talent.
Yep. I agree with that. Anything else on this matchup? All right. Let's turn again.
Oh,
yeah.
I know we do a lot of playoff conversation. Oregon loses this game. They're very much in trouble, right?
They are in trouble. They are not out.
They're not out.
Right.
But they're in trouble.
They are in trouble. The crew that I've got that I've been using to help my mind understand the playoff race is Oregon, Alabama, Notre Dame, Oklahoma. Those 4 teams right there have it all. Oh, Tom had this on his series on Monday. It's all in front of them. Those 4 teams, you're sort of sitting in the nice position. So if you can take care of business, we're not going to slide you over to the locks. We're not going to slide you over to safe. You're very much in jeopardy. So obviously win out to give yourself the best chance to be able to make it.
Can I answer Garrett's question real quick?
Sure. Let me go find
Jordan Davison, De'Air Hill, and Noah Whittington, not Jordan Hudson. All right. Because that's what happened on yesterday's show.
On CBS Sports Network.
I nearly called him Jordan Hudson on CBS Sports Network, and it completely threw me off because they both spelled it with the O. Yeah, it's Jordan.
They were both competing this past weekend, too.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. I mean, you really see Jordan Davison cheerleading for his team on the sideline when he's not on the field.
That's right.
The city of Raleigh I'm a lifelong city of Raleigh resident. The city of Raleigh has grown a lot, and I know it's grown too big, and I don't know the whole city because I did not know that there was an adult co-ed cheerleading competition. If I had known that the head coach of the University of North Carolina football team was going to be somewhere near my house at an adult co-ed cheerleading competition, I might have dropped in.
Yeah.
You know?
You know
a bigger city than what I grew up in.
I am not going to knock any adults who are doing recreational cheerleading because that stuff is hard. You got to be a hell of an athlete to be doing it. The funny part is that Bill Belichick is there watching it because it's his girlfriend did it. That's the funny part.
He looked like me at the 3 to 5 year old Taekwondo. You know, like when I'm there with Punt and Pooch at Taekwondo and I'm just sitting in the corner of the room and the mats are out there. I'm watching them work on their body focus and their eye focus.
So good.
So good. Okay. That game, of course, you can watch it on CBS 3:30 p.m. Eastern time. We will have Brad and Gary and Jenny on the call. Lots of coverage on CBS Sports HQ all through the day as well. Elsewhere in college football, we will be seeing if the Sooners can back up another impressive road win with a victory against Missouri. I just mentioned Oklahoma as one of those teams that if they can just take care of business and land the plane. Here's the issue, though. Missouri's a not dead team. We'll see what LSU has for the end of the season, but they certainly showed some fight in a win against Arkansas last week. Tom, we're looking on the screen, youtube.com/cover3 of Missouri's rushing offense against Oklahoma's run defense. Clearly, the downfield passing attack is not part of the repertoire for the Tigers this year. Do you think that Missouri is going to be able to move the football on Oklahoma?
No.
Okay.
No. I listen, like Missouri's rushing offense kind of hit, they've had a couple good games in the last couple weeks, but I think like Mississippi State's a terrible defense, which kind of papers over some of it. I think that if you look at how Missouri's been this year, when they've played the better teams in the SEC, or at least the better defenses in the SEC, I don't want to throw Auburn out by calling them a better team, but like the rushing attack has struggled. Like if you look at Ahmad Hardy's overall numbers, a lot of those have come in very like half of Mizzou's games. He's also had a lot of bad games. So I don't think going into this one, especially with the uncertainty at quarterback, is Bo Pribula playing? Do we know? Is he coming back? I don't know, but I just don't feel like anybody can run against Oklahoma, because Oklahoma has faced good offenses and Oklahoma has stopped all of those rushing offenses. So I think that just matchup wise, I have to give Oklahoma's defense the edge here, which then turns this into a situation of, do you believe Missouri can throw the ball well enough against Oklahoma to put points on the board? And I don't, because we saw the Oklahoma defense struggle against Tennessee and Ole Miss in the passing game. The secondary was getting picked apart pretty good by those two offenses, but the problems that I saw in those games weren't there last week. They figured it out. They fixed whatever it was against Alabama. That was Alabama's worst passing offense performance as far as EPA is concerned since the Florida State loss. So Oklahoma seems to have figured that out, and now Mizzou's got to deal with them, and they're coming off a huge win. So maybe you hope for the letdown. But I feel like Missouri's truest path to winning this game is John Mateer doing John Mateer things, and not in the good way. Like getting to him, pressuring him, forcing him into making throws that he shouldn't be making, and just kind of putting the ball in danger, getting turnovers, getting short fields, kind of like what they did to Alabama, Oklahoma did to Alabama last week.
I would say, this would be my Bud voice, who are the best rushing attacks they face? Like, let's spitball this here. They did struggle to stop the run against Michigan.
7-8, but I was looking at that.
That was on one run, though.
75 yards on one Justice Haynes touchdown run. So that.
Okay, now let's do Texas.
Yeah.
What about Texas?
That was a bad performance.
Have a good run game, though.
Okay, but I do like. So I'm fascinated by this matchup because, and I do think it does matter if Bo Pribs plays, because Zollers has struggled. But I don't know if it's not like you're getting back Ty Simpson or Gunnar Stockton. Like he's still a little bit dicey. He has not played great against the better defenses he's played, but at least you have to defend the pass. Like you have to worry about it somewhat, because if it's Zollers, I think you're going to see them just sell out and be like, go ahead, beat us in the air. And then I don't think they'll be able to run the football, where I think it'll get back a little bit to like the Michigan game, where you do run the risk of one big play. And that's where I think Mizzou, it'll be a really good test for them. How committed are they to the run, where Ahmad Hardy's best back in the SEC, you keep hammering it up there, and you're really but you're like, no, we're going to keep hammering it. And then all it takes is that one big play. And Oklahoma's offense, it is a liability. It has not been very good. So I think this game is intriguing. If it was in Columbia, I think it would be way more intriguing. Like, ooh, Oklahoma could get beat. Like, I don't think Oklahoma will get beat, but I think they could get scared. I think it could be a nerve-wracking game. That, like, for them, you'll take an ugly win all day long.
And the other side of this, too, is like, as far as Oklahoma's offense is concerned, you would think that if you want to avoid Mateer making those mistakes, you want to lean on your run game. And Oklahoma had been struggling to run the ball all year, but then we'd kind of seen in recent weeks, they weren't elite. They weren't great at it, but they were figuring things out in the run game. And then last week came and they couldn't do anything in the ground game. Like Alabama was going to take it away. And while Missouri does not have the same level of run defense that Oklahoma has put up this year, it's still one of the better run defenses in the country. Like it's a top 25 unit in most of those stats. So if Oklahoma is unable to establish the run in this game and they have to put it all on Mateer, whether that's with his arm and his legs and just letting him be, Mr. Do-It-All, carry the offense on my back, I don't think that's great for Oklahoma. Like, I think it's very important for the Sooners to be able to run the ball in this game. And I also think Satania at receiver has kind of emerged in recent weeks, which is nice because I think that gives him another weapon in the passing game. So it's going to be, I think it's going to be low scoring, put it that way. I think this is going to be very, like the total is 42.5. I think that is going to be very much how this game plays out.
Yeah, Justin in the tailgate says if Mizzou is so woeful, shouldn't the line be bigger than 7.5? But here's the thing: 7.5 and a 42.5 total is, it's a big number.
it's 24 to 17.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't it at 9.5 or was it never that high?
I thought 9.5 was USC-Oregon.
Okay.
Remember,
I thought I saw this one bigger, but yeah, this line feels tight. Like this is where I would expect it to be.
Big game for Kirby Moore. We go into this season. He joined the Mizzou staff back in 2023. You hear people be like, "Oh yeah, Kirby Moore. He's like good offensive mind. Kirby Moore, good offensive mind." I mean, I'm sorry if I've just been under a rock. I don't think we've mentioned it here. That's Kellen's brother.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Come on, Kirby.
I'm going
to say, are you going to be a Garrett Riley? Okay. Or are you going to be, we've got a lot of first families of play callers out here and it doesn't always work out, huh?
Unfortunately, he doesn't have Marcel Reed though.
Uh-huh.
That's where I wonder whoever plays quarterback, it's going to be a long afternoon. And you just and I think for both. So I think it could be long for Mateer too. And the thing that he did against Alabama is he was patient. He didn't get antsy. He didn't try to make the big play. And I wonder if they've been talking to him, coaching him up, saying, hey, I know you're used to putting up big numbers, getting big touchdown plays. It is okay to just get back to the line of scrimmage and line it up for second down. Because I do think he's done better, but that still does concern me for Oklahoma.
Yep. That one in Norman should be a very, very interesting one. Also, from the vibes off-field department, what we make of Eli Drinkwitz's prepared statements at the podium earlier this week. We like them. Feeling antsy. We're shopping. Is Drink waiting on Lane? Mizzou fans didn't love it.
No. No, they didn't. I think if you're a fan, you want your coach to make the choice. But I think for the coach, it doesn't make a ton of sense to say one thing definitively one way or the other, because maybe he's interested in another job. Maybe he has no interest in another job, but he might be interested in a raise.
Don't you think all of them, if they don't sign it after a month of rumors, that they are shopping around?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they're like, yeah,
well, you don't have to say anything. Your actions speak louder than anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the same thing as it's like, I wasn't like when they stay, I wasn't looking around. And whenever you do hire a coach, he was the top target on our board. He was the only one we made an offer to. It's happening all the time. Like all these coaches are represented by like 5 or 6 different agents. And these agents are talking to the ADs and they're like, well, I've got this guy. I've got this guy. I've got this guy. Like the agent is doing their job. He's shopping them all around. That's literally what he's paid to do.
Agents also sometimes represent the athletic directors too.
Yes.
So
and the players.
Yes.
Same with all of them.
Amazing. All right. Coming up on the other side, it's Wednesday. We got to check in with the market. What's the latest? We check in with Day Trade and Danny. Plus, more game breakdowns, storylines to watch, and more. Next.
All right. What?
Back here on the Cover 3 podcast on Wednesday. Don't you want your intro animation?
Well, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I know the big time gets you fired up. Let's let it roll, Mikey, Day Trade, and Danny.
All right, appreciate that. John in the chat said the Cutter Bowley buy a few weeks ago was wonderful. All right, trying to make you guys some money out here.
1 for 50.
Hey, watch out. I'll go back and go through the list from the beginning of the year if you really want. I only had a couple plays today on actual players, but I do have some stories kind of that I was going to buy or sell.
Love
but my first player that I want to buy, Bird Ficklin, Utah's backup quarterback, makes Utah a team that nobody should want to see, nobody should want to play. Utah's kind of lurking around that area where they need some help. We've all focused on Miami as a 2-loss team. I think Utah's one that is kind of similar, where they're in the conversation. And Bird Ficklin, in his 2 games of meaningful playing time, he had the start against Colorado where he rushed 20 times for 151, and then this past week coming off the bench and, kind of as an added weapon, 6 rushes for 166. So Devin Dampierre, you might have a 2-headed monster there playing quarterback for Utah. So I'm buying up some Bird Ficklin stock. And I saw somebody else in the chat earlier say Bird is the word. Didn't even see that, but that was early in the show.
Listen, I don't know about many people, but at least one person is wondering if Bird Ficklin is the Tim Tebow of this season. If that 2-headed monster at quarterback, it's Chris Tim Tebow, you bring him in there, it's just a difference maker.
And I think people have said, I heard you guys saying it on the reaction pod, like Georgia's the team nobody wants to play right now. I think that is Utah. I think Utah is a team that nobody, certainly in the Big 12, doesn't want to face and don't want to see them in the Big 12 championship game, but they obviously need some help. The Heisman race, I'm selling everybody except the top 3. It's a 3-man race between Julian Sayin, Fernando Mendoza, and Marcel Reed. I think Gunnar Stockton has been awesome. I think statistically he just has too far to go. Diego Pavia's out there doing the dance on TikTok, but I think that's just almost a play for desperation to keep his relevance out there. Sure, if he beats Tennessee, he'll be invited, which I think is a really cool story, but I think it's a 3-man race. I'm buying it's only a 3-man race, selling everybody else. You guys down with that?
No, not really, but I think that I think the winner probably is one of the 2 quarterbacks in the Big Ten.
Same. That's what I kind of went with a couple weeks ago as a buy.
Yeah.
Maybe open the door for Marcel Reed. I do think the comeback was kind of his Heisman moment. As bad as his first half was, he was phenomenal in the second, which was super impressive. To come back.
I think the list of contenders to be a finalist is a lot larger.
Yes.
I think Marcel Reed's closer to other names that'll all get little nibbles here and there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I
back
in that.
Coming back from 27.5 is awesome. It's not quite as good as 28 in 11 minutes, but that's another story for another day. All right. I will. All right. So I got a couple stories that I'm going to buy or sell, like stuff that's been in the conversation in college football. Big news yesterday, Sam Leavitt shopping around his team, his camp. His brother was out there denying it. So I am buying that Sam Leavitt is very much shopping around, but I also think it's probably more that he is being offered by other teams. So I don't even know if it's them dangling him out there. It's just they've been approached by everybody. And so I am 100% buying that Sam Leavitt is very much in play for a lot of teams across the country. The season's shut down. Kenny Dillingham, his odds to potentially be the LSU coach are pretty sky high. Kenny Dillingham has been out there asking for local restaurants for money for NIL. Did you guys see that?
Mm-hmm.
He's saying, put our guys, make a sandwich after our players. I mean, who wouldn't want a little Jordan Tyson tuna sandwich? I mean,
do you know what that sounds like to me?
It sounds like somebody who's frustrated with the NIL landscape and he wants to go somewhere where he doesn't have to beg for money.
Or with let me make sure. I think that as we have had a discussion on here before, there are different approaches to the clearinghouse and the NIL regulations. And if you are having to beg local businesses for a Jordan Tyson sandwich, it sounds like you are being held to following the letter of the law.
Yeah.
And you can probably pay players a lot easier if you're not following the letter of the law with this NIL stuff.
Yeah.
And so that was
one. So the bottom report there, I don't know if you can read that. Selling the College Sports Commission. Because remember that was supposed to be the policeman. It was coming in and they had the executive from Major League Baseball and they were going to police anybody. Has anybody in the last couple months, or I would say since it started, there was maybe one report that said NIL Go had turned down so many, but then there was a bunch of others that were being protested, that they were going to try to resubmit them. The whole thing is a joke. Like, that thing has disappeared. So I think the schools that are being more aggressive, I'm buying all those schools, because until they get in trouble for going over the cap or creating NIL deals or having them that are above the money, why would you listen?
Here's the thing about like the CSC and the NIL Go. People care about that crap in March because we don't have anything else to talk about. Once the game starts, nobody gives a shit. Like, nobody's bringing it up. Nobody cares.
But they haven't policed anything. Like,
nobody cares. Nobody's asking them to.
Right. I don't know. I could see them. This is where it depends. As an athletic director, you have to make a decision based on your coach, based on your boosters, based on what you are trying to win. Like, how much is your university president going to be mad if in March 2026, the College Sports Commission's like, well, guess what? They were ineligible, and try to like retroactively do this. Now, again, at certain programs, the message from your university president off the record and your boosters, anytime they pick up the phone, is we don't care. You do what you need to get the roster together to go win those football games. And how about this? According to our own Chris Hummer, Arizona State as an athletic department is not spending the full rev share allotment this year.
So they've got debt that they're paying off. Did they do work on the stadium recently?
Yes, they've been adding a bunch.
Yeah, exactly.
And the expected market for Sam Levitt is expected to be $3 million plus.
Oh, I think it'll be more than that. I think that's a pretty good deal.
You're paying. You don't watch Sam Levitt in 2025.
Let me correct
for
this.
2024.
He's shown you more though than Lenore Sellers did last year in a smaller body of work.
But like, go look at his numbers in 2024 and compare them to his numbers this season.
Agreed.
That's a lot of money for a Jag.
I think he's better than a Jag.
He hasn't been this year when he played.
He hasn't been this year. He's been banged up though. He's got one good wide receiver who's great, but he's been.
How is he without that receiver?
Yeah,
how is he without the running back that they had?
Well, that's why
showing up at WWE events.
But I think that's why you'll see Sam Levitt leave to a place where he has better talent, and I think that'll help him tremendously.
I just don't know that I would be paying that price for him.
I think
that's a lot of money in my.
I think that's probably on the low end of like a starting quarterback at the top 40 school in the country. I think $4 million is kind of a good quarterback.
And just to because college football insiders, our friends, our colleagues here at CBS Sports, Chris Hummer, a part of that as well. So I give him a shout out, point to the passer, Dean Smith style. It is a salary for a quarterback of Levitt's caliber will be $3 million plus next season.
Yeah.
But then give me the $2 million quarterback and I'll put that money that I saved on him into my defense and offensive lines.
See, I kind of think there will be some teams that might wake up and realize like that's the whole NFL win with a rookie quarterback who you're not paying much, pay everybody else. I do think that's a good idea because there's some good quarterbacks.
Yeah. Unless I have a true difference maker at that position, I am not paying that much of my allotment. No way in hell.
So when Duke got Darian Mensah for $4 per year over 2 years.
Yep.
That means that the 4 was super expensive this year and then on market value for next year.
Correct. Yes.
A lot of these, by the way.
What's that?
How's that working out for him, by the way?
He's been great.
But what about the rest of the team?
No. Also,
he struggled against Illinois and struggled against UConn with a couple picks.
Yeah, no, Darian Mensah is one of the friendliest quarterbacks in the ACC. That guy likes to share the ball with his teammates, with defensive backs. He is an extremely, generosity. I know the holiday season's coming up. Darian Mensah is ringing the bell outside of the grocery store. That guy is.
That would be the case that Tom says, where if you paid him $2, you probably could have got some other real difference makers on the defense or on the offensive line or running back and bought a lot of good players. So I do think if that was a GM, that would be my models. You can find a good quality quarterback for $2 million out there. So you better make sure you put him in good supporting staff. All right, another story that I'm selling this story. Lane Kiffin's ultimatum, or actually Ole Miss's ultimatum to Lane Kiffin. So Lane Kiffin was on Pat McAfee yesterday. He said there is no truth to it. That is not what has happened. There is no ultimatum from Ole Miss. Here's why I believe Lane Kiffin. Because all the stuff, the gossip that we've been hearing is very similar to what I had heard over the weekend. And all of it kind of is in the same bucket of just gossip that's out there. It was the same stuff that Desmond Howard. We even talked a little bit about on Monday. I was like, hey, keep. And then Desmond's out there with a big smile on his face, feeling like he's breaking big, juicy news. Like, hey, this Texas job. The same bucket of information was that Ole Miss was going to give Lane Kiffin an ultimatum. Like, that was in the same bucket of gossip. So I do believe Lane Kiffin that there's not an actual, you have to sign this. I think they would like to say that, but I think when push comes to shove, it's a negotiating tactic and they're trying to force his hand. But I don't think Ole Miss will actually get to the point where they tell Lane Kiffin to walk.
Agreed.
Which is why I'm selling analysts trying to break news and trying to run with gossip. Now, Stuart Mandel is not an analyst. I think he probably had some sources, maybe the same one that the players are getting it from, that are feeding him this information. But don't ever take anything from me as a report. Don't ever take anything from Desmond Howard. Don't take anything from any analyst that says based on what they're hearing or they've talked to people, because, man, we've seen even Kirk Herbstreit has been burned by it. He's talked about it. He said he would never break news again. I forget what specific story it was.
He had Rich Rod going to Alabama, remember?
That was what it was. And he was like, he reported it, and then he said, I'll never do it again after he got burned.
I mean, that's like, not to get all journalism 101 here, but like, you used to have to actually confirm things with somebody before you reported them. And now people are just going on their TikTok or their Instagram lives and be like, my friend texted me this. I don't know whether he knows or not, but this is what I'm hearing. Sources indicate to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I read it on a message board.
Insiders getting played and analysts getting worked to control the message or stir up the pot. It's always very, very tricky around this time.
Just know when you're being used.
Yeah.
And you know what? And the other problem is there are plenty of people who are insiders who have no problem being used and understand they're being used, and they'll still put it out there because that's what they're paid to do.
Mm-hmm.
The information trade. Like, I'm going to put this out because you're telling me this, even though I'm not positive about it, but because I'm doing this favor for you, that means when I come to you later and I need confirmation on this other thing I'm working on, it's when we get back into the agent discussion, right? If one agent is representing 9 different coaches and I am sitting here and you're telling me something about one of the coaches, I might go with that report because I know it'll get me in your good graces for when I need the big scoop for the other guy that's in your Rolodex.
And it's not just with the agents, Chip. Some people work for places where there's letters in their name, but none of them stand for news, but one of them does stand for entertainment.
True.
It's true.
Very
That's
true.
I mean, look, former players can get manipulated, Danny, you know?
Yes.
Yep.
Absolutely.
You know,
that's why I'm saying don't, like, and that's why I'm giving people, like, if you hear me say something, do not take it as a report. It is not me reporting anything. It's me telling you the stuff it is basically, I mean, it's reality television.
Yeah.
It's Survivor. It's basically, it's Love Island is what it is. It's just,
I'm reading you what the streets are saying. This is coming from the group chat, you know?
Right. I mean, that's basically what everybody's talking about.
Yeah.
So I don't know. The only thing I would say with Lane Kiffin, and I again, the reports, are the reports accurate that his family was in Gainesville and in Baton Rouge? It's hard to deny that. I mean, Kim Mulkey, the head coach at LSU, was saying, oh, y'all didn't see his family was in Gainesville too. Is that what we're going with? Like, is that what people are running with? Do people have the tail numbers? I mean, this stuff is not, it's off the charts.
Danny, based on my understanding of following this insanity, it looked like somebody was in a bushes with camo at the Baton Rouge airport trying to get a photo of Bigfoot.
Forget the on-field results. This is the primary difference between the SEC and the Big Ten. You do not see this in the Big Ten.
I was talking about that with my friend Joe Ovius yesterday. You know, like you guys don't understand what levels it gets to with this. And you know what, Danny? the place I am in the fan fiction, alert, fan fiction, the place where I am in this is LSU fans and Florida fans each thinking that now they're just negotiating against each other. That they're out here being like, okay, so we first said he can coach the playoff, but then LSU said, no, he cannot coach the playoffs. He needs to get to work right away. So now we're getting up our offer to $15 million per year over 10 years so that then he will not coach the play. I mean, amazing levels here. I have no idea where we're going to land. And I'll go back to something I said, I think during maybe it was the James Franklin side. I mean, if Knox, who is a quarterback prospect in the 2028 class, if his family, which, he has talked a lot about how, getting his family all back on the same page has been a big part of his own like mental, spiritual sort of return to self. Mm-hmm. If you're not at least going and checking out schools and stuff like that, sure.
Right.
This is your off week. It's a sensible time to do it.
And I mean, that's another factor you have to consider too. Like we always compare jobs, like, is this a better job? But if you're Lane Kiffin and your son is in high school and he's a quarterback prospect, you also have to weigh, do I want to uproot him and move him to a new school?
Right.
Like, it's going pretty well for him at this school. Do I want to change things? So all of this stuff goes in that most people don't consider.
Right. We never consider the personal aspect to it. I mean, I got asked by this radio station in LA if Jed Fish's wife hates Seattle. And maybe she does. Maybe she would much rather be. And I do think that factors into decisions. Rhett Lashley said one of the reasons he stayed in Dallas was because his wife and his 4 children were happy at the school they were in, and he didn't want to move them. Like a lot of that does. When I moved to Connecticut for ESPN, I had to talk to my wife about that. She had to be okay with that. That was a hard move. Like you have to consider those things. There's also, this is all setting up to for just the troll of all trolls from Lane Kiffin, who is the master troller of the college football universe. Like wherever he goes, like, could you imagine him saying we didn't like the neighborhoods in Gainesville or Baton Rouge? Like, did you see
whoever it is, like whatever happens here, Lane Kiffin has made himself the main character in the Southeastern Conference for the next 5 years.
Yeah.
No matter what happens.
All I will say is if he really wanted to troll, or if there's something happens and there's a private jet that goes from Oxford to Austin, Texas, the internet may break this weekend.
He should just take the flight to go visit Sark.
He should be like, go
get lunch, take a private jet.
Oh my goodness.
So good.
Oh, that's a wrap for the market. That was a little bit of gossip today.
Hey, listen.
Markets have moved for less.
Oh, yeah, right. Markets have moved on gossip before. Why stop now? All right. Coming up on the other side, more of our games to watch, matchups, X Factor, storylines, and more. Next. Back here on the Cover 3 podcast, as much as Tom Fornelli might hate it, we got to turn our attention to the Atlantic Coast Conference. He's trying to wipe them off the map. He's trying to relegate them outside of the FBS. But we have a game of significance, stakes, and honestly, kind of interest. Could be a fun game. Pitt going down to Bobby Dodd Stadium in Atlanta to take on Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech's defensive issues have not been fixed. Yeah. Boston College running up the score, nearly knocking off Georgia Tech. Yellow Jackets lucky to escape with a win in that one. Obviously, CJ Bailey and NC State tore them up the week before. Now here comes Mason Heinschel and a Pitt offense that was, especially early in that game, just put in the sleeper hold by Notre Dame. So, Danny, are you seeing a Pitt bounce back or a response where they're going to be able to not let one loss become two, try to catch their rhythm and maybe go in and take advantage of a weakness for Georgia Tech that I don't know if there's an easy fix there?
No. Brent Key talked to him on Monday. He came on our radio show and we were asking, like, what'd you say at halftime? And he's like, I may have thrown some things. And so we were like, well, what'd you throw? And he's like, He's like, I don't know. He's like, I was throwing everything I get my hands on. He's like, he said, there's lucky there wasn't a little DB right there. I might have thrown a little DB back across the room. And I mean, we see his press conference was going viral after, where he was like, we just won. I mean, all year long, he has said this team, but I think he's specifically talking about his defense, is going to give him a heart attack. Like, I think he just goes into every game. He did tell us, he said he thinks it's all assignments. You know, he said like the team isn't lining up in the right place. I think there's something to that, but there's also, I do think the personnel is not great either. So I think it's a combination of both. So then it puts a lot of stress on the offense, who's been awesome. Haynes King has put this team on his back time and time again. And I remember watching the Boston College game being like, is he going to get the chance? Because at some point you're like, can they even get off the field? And Boston College could not close it out, and he was given that opportunity. Do you guys think I'm crazy?
Yes.
Yes. Do you guys think I'm crazy to say that Pitt's defense actually played pretty good against Notre Dame?
No, I don't think that's crazy at all.
Because that's to me what's the thing to watch out for. Because like the point total's high at 61.5, and Dusty's calling the game, and he said, "Oh man, I think it's gonna be a shootout." I don't know if Georgia Tech's gonna move the ball like the way they've been moving against this Pitt defense. So that becomes an interesting scenario. Like I don't. It's kind of something I'm keeping on, because I think Pitt's defense is pretty good. And then to your question about Mason Heichel, he had, and I was talking to AJ McCarron about this, while we were reacting to the game as it was unfolding. Sometimes you don't have to look at the stat line. And I thought the pick six, like Mason Heichel, was kind of done. Like it was the knockout blow, not only to the game, but to his confidence. And then he was just off all day. That to me is, can he regain it against this Georgia Tech defense, which is really bad? So that's kind of a storyline to keep an eye out for. But I think Pitt's defense is the thing that probably concerns me if I'm a Georgia Tech fan. You're going to give up points. But can you get in a shootout?
Jeremiah Love hit that one Pitt defender with the spin move that kind of, opened the field up for the long run. I don't have their success rate pulled up, but anecdotally, it did not feel as though Notre Dame was shredding.
Right.
Yeah, it was more efficient than it was destroying.
Yeah. What do you think, Tom?
First of all, to answer your slanderous allegations at the start of this segment, I'm a Virginia Tech fan now, so I love the ACC. I think it's a tremendous league, and I can't wait until my Hokies win it for the next decade. As for this game in particular, both these teams are lucky not to be facing my Hokies, but I do think one of the interesting aspects, and we've touched on it already, is like I don't trust the Georgia Tech defense. I don't think it's god awful either. Like, obviously, the last two games, it has been single-ply toilet paper tough. Like, it's just been getting run through. And it wasn't exactly like they were playing the cream of the crop. Like, I'm not going to make excuses for getting destroyed by NC State and Boston College. But the fact of the matter is, while it hasn't been good, Georgia Tech's defense has been pretty much average at home in these last two games around the road. So returning to home for this game, I think we will probably see a better performance from this defense just based on what we've seen from it at home all year. I also think we will see a better performance from the Pitt offense this year. But my concern with Pitt is still the same concern I had going into last week, and why I was not very high on them in last week's game. They have very good numbers statistically, but they've also been playing a lot of dog doo-doo teams, which inflates those numbers. And we saw, like, they didn't give up a ton of big plays to Notre Dame, and they did a decent job. Like, I don't think Pitt's a bad defense at all. I just don't know if it's as good as its numbers. I think it's more of an above average defense. So going up against this Georgia Tech offense, which has shown an ability to move the ball and put points on the board, the interesting aspect to me is nobody runs zone coverage more often than Pitt. They are the highest zone rate in coverage than any other team in the country, which going up against Haynes King has an impact, because if you look at his numbers against zone, they're good, but they're also more dinky and dunky, and they don't really, I think he's thrown like 2 touchdowns all year against zone, despite having, seeing it 2/3 of the time, whereas most of his touchdowns have come against man. So we're going to see that. It's going to limit him as a passer. But at the same time, Pitt's pass rush, like, to get pressure on a quarterback, they do a lot of zone blitzing. If you blitz Haynes King, and he gets away, that's going to be a problem for you because he's shown the ability. I mean, obviously he's very good on designed runs, but when things break down and lanes open up, he's also very good at just picking up 15 to 20 yards on you and getting the first down and keeping the drive going. So to me, if I'm Pitt, my focus in this game will be to play zone, to make sure Haynes King has to dink and dunk, and then also just keep him in the pocket. Don't really go after him so much. Just keep him in the pocket and force him to read it, go through it, and make the throws. Because if you make Georgia Tech have to go 8, 9, 10 plays and then get him in the red zone, they might not be nearly as effective. So I don't think Pitt's offense is going to be great in this game. I do think their defense can do enough to limit Georgia Tech. So I don't know if this is going to be the shootout maybe that everybody expects it to be.
I'm not going to act like I'm up on the chalkboard, drawing this all out. But with the athleticism of Pitt's linebackers, is that a spy situation, or is that just like maybe you change your aggressiveness just so that you're at least giving Haynes King the pause where if he doesn't see that first read or if he's not seeing the field, you're not giving him the open space that might happen if you were sending the linebackers more aggressively?
I'm not spying him on every snap because that makes it very easy for an offense. If they know what one guy's assignment is going to be every single snap, you can exploit the hell out of it. I do think you'll see him spied a bit, but I don't think it's going to be a spy situation as much as it's going to be for my pass rushers. Don't get too far up the field. Don't cut inside. Just treat your pass rush like it's run defense. Maintain your gaps. Don't give him the space to go through. Force him to run around and give my linebackers time to chase him towards the sideline so he can't get huge chunks.
All right. After a long winning streak, the Cincinnati Bearcats have lost 2 in a row. First came an absolute drubbing on the road at Utah, 45-14. Then tight game against Arizona. Bearcats defense let them down just a little bit, 30-24. Now they're playing host to BYU, final home game of the season for the Bearcats. Can our guy get back? I thought we were a Brendan Sorsby podcast.
He was a big buy. He was a big buy earlier.
Loved his, vibes department. I loved his competitiveness at the close of this game. Cincinnati did not come up with the winning plays, but Sorsby was out there. He was barking at his teammates. He's trying to get everybody lined up. He's trying to make it happen. This is not somebody who is anything other than 10 toes down, 100% in on trying to finish this season strong. Thought that was awesome. But man, this is a tough challenge going up against BYU's defense. How do we think that the Bearcats fare in a bounce back spot?
First of all, we have seen Notre Dame and Miami fans going back and forth at each other for 3 weeks now over these rankings. But if there is one thing that could bring both of those fan bases together and unite them, is this game and all of them putting on their Cincinnati Bearcats uniforms and rooting like hell for the Bearcats to take BYU down and get them out the paint in all likelihood. Now, can Cincinnati do that? The defense has, like you touched on, the last 3 games has been awful from this Cincinnati defense. They're allowing 2.93 points per drive. And it's primarily because what had been a good run defense all year, like you could throw the ball on Cincinnati if you were good enough. Like that was their weak spot, but they were able to overcome that by taking away your run game. Not the case lately. Like they got run over by Utah. They got run over by Arizona. And even to a lesser degree, they got run over by Baylor. So this is a BYU offense that comes into the country 12th in EPA per rush and 19th in explosive rushing rate. It's a big question mark for this game, and it really will be the determining factor. If the Bearcats can limit Bear Bachmeier, his haunches, and his running backs from getting chunk yards on the ground, they're going to be in this game because I do think that their rushing offense itself is quite good. It's one of the better in the country, and BYU's rush defense is kind of average. So I think that is something they can exploit at home. So that will be the key factor in this game. And then obviously taking care of the football and offense. But stop the run and run the ball yourself.
In the words of Bud Elliott, as we're talking about Brendan Sorsby, who are the better defenses he's played? The last 2 games he's played against the best defenses, and he has struggled. Now, one of them was on the road in a really tough environment, but last week was not against Arizona.
Yeah, 2 picks.
And he struggled. So I think this is a big game for him to bounce back. I do like BYU here physically to be able to get out of this with a win.
8 p.m. kickoff at the NIP.
Yeah, it's a great play. They should be fired up, I think. After back-to-back losses.
I'll tell you what, this one ain't making my locks card. I mean, it might be a sprinkle, but it is one where I feel like I am in the poisonous position of just kind of wish casting a great environment on Saturday night, because BYU could go in there, turn a couple of Sorsby turnovers into touchdowns. And BYU has had this situation this season where I don't know if their margin of victory even matches the margin of competition, right? Like the game against Utah, they were up by 10, right? I mean, they had a double-digit lead late in that game. Utah maybe does a little bit of some aesthetics closing it late. BYU is so physical. They don't blow teams out necessarily, but it can be, you can watch some of these BYU games and just tell that the opponent's not going to be able to get back into it. So Cincinnati might still be in the game, but it could be a situation where you can just tell they're not getting what they want offensively and they're not getting off the field defensively. Like, oh, it's only a 10-point game, but it could feel like a lot bigger if it goes BYU's way.
Back to the Sorsby point, I think that's like, he has played poorly, but I think part of that is because, like, Brendan Sorsby has never been the quarterback you want dropping back to throw a bunch of times anyway. Like, his strength has always been his legs.
Right.
And we have seen, like against Utah, because they lost by 31, he had to drop back. He had 35 dropbacks in that game. It's the second most he's had in a game all year. Against Arizona, he had 30 dropbacks. That's the third most he's had in a game this year. Like, it's no coincidence that the 5 games in which, he's had the most dropbacks have been 3 of Cincinnati's losses. Game script wise, run the damn ball, run the damn ball, run the damn ball, stop the run, keep yourself in a situation where you can run the damn ball and not have your quarterback drop back, because when you have Sorsby dropping back, that's not what you ideally want him
doing. Who would you rather have in the portal market, Sam Levitt or Brendan Sorsby?
Sam Levitt.
Ooh, fast answer.
I know.
I think Brendan Sorsby is a very good player. I also think that he's tied to a certain kind of offense. Like, I don't think you have to fear Cincinnati's passing attack with Brendan Sorsby back there. I think with Sam Levitt, there's more of a dual threat nature, because Sam can run, but you also have to worry about him from the pocket.
You also have to worry about Sam Levitt winding up on that injury report.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's something worth considering too when you're about to pay those prices, because you still got to pay him whether he's on the sideline or the field.
I mean, you're going to be paying for someone who just had his season shut down for Liz Frank. Ugh.
Well, yep.
What were you about to say? Something about feet?
Yeah, I was going to make Rex Ryan.
Rex
Ryan. There you go.
There you go. Okay. Some other just sort of highlight storylines to watch. Do we think Tennessee snaps the losing streak in the swamp?
I think so.
I know.
If I'm a Tennessee fan, I sure as hell hope so. Because once they hire Lane Kiffin, you're never going to have the chance to do it again.
Florida's been a hard team to figure out which Florida team is going to show up, because they laid the egg against Kentucky, competitive against Ole Miss. It's like coming back home. I don't know.
It is.
I will say this, like, Tennessee is, I would say fraudulent, but they really haven't beat any teams of consequence.
And do you know who's taking notice of that? Tennessee fans. This is a sneaky, and this is not, again, like, let's be very clear about the journalistic standards of the Cover 3 podcast. We are just sitting here talking, especially from the fan side of things. But the frustrations that came out of Tennessee losing those games to Oklahoma and Alabama included how good actually is Josh Heupel. And it has been positioned that in the eyes and emotions of Tennessee fans, losing to a coachless Florida team where you had all of the opportunity to snap the losing streak would only add to the pressure, not hot seat, but the real pressure on Josh Heupel to deliver big time results. So it's kind of a sneaky got to have it game for Josh Heupel.
How quickly we forget.
How quickly we forget what?
Where we were a few years ago.
Yeah. We're even a year ago in the playoffs.
Oh my God, we're making a 1 year. We lose our quarterback really late to the portal, have to bring in somebody who wasn't with us all offseason, and we missed the playoffs. This coach has to go. He clearly doesn't know how to win in the SEC.
Is Texas on upset alert against Arkansas?
I mean, I feel like everybody's on upset alert against Arkansas just because Arkansas can score points. And you get caught in the wrong situation against them, you're going to be in a deep spot. You got to dig yourself out of. That said, I also think Texas can beat them by 40.
LSU and Arkansas played a low-scoring game, but LSU's offense comes with all of its surgeon's general warning. You know, like, you don't need that. That's gonna make you sick for a long time. That's not exactly the case that we've got with Texas. Even as they have their own issues, they've got more explosive players. They've got more ways to be able to generate. Come on, dog. LSU and Texas has the same offense?
No. I was saying Arkansas. When you brought up Arkansas has an interesting game this weekend against Texas.
Oh, for Arkansas purposes.
Yes, for Arkansas purposes.
Oh.
Coming off a rough loss. You got A&M next week. It is a sandwich game.
Lost your top target to Virginia Tech.
No, I Taylon Green, mobile quarterback. Texas better be ready to play this weekend.
Got my eyes on that one. What about the fighting James Franklin's playing host to Miami?
Do they get the James Franklin bump?
Yeah, is he going to give the pregame speech?
I hope so. I mean,
he's got to be on the broadcast, right? They got to bring him up in the booth, give a little sales pitch.
Dude, you
sure.
have to. Yeah, absolutely.
Listen, me and my Hokies were on to 2026. I mean, we'll be happy if we're going to give Miami everything we got, but we are focused on the future.
Didn't they already say they've got 3 times the amount of recruits coming to the game since before?
Going to have the best recruiting class in the ACC. Sorry, Florida State. Maybe you guys should check out a high school once in a while. Our coach does.
If Miami loses this game.
Oh, boy. Oh, my gosh.
I mean, the content, though, will be fantastic. But I talked about it after Miami lost to Louisville. I'm never just assuming Miami's ever winning a football game ever again. They could very easily lose.
What about the Noles? They'll be here in Raleigh, over in West Raleigh at Carter Finley Stadium on Friday night.
4.5 point favorite.
We just running through the ACC schedule now.
I know, yeah. Boy, we were at the bottom of the barrel for games of the weekend.
I got a question for you guys. I mean, like, what about Minnesota Northwestern at Wrigley? Northwestern needs another win to get to a bowl game.
Listen,
do you know what is an interesting game? James Madison, Washington State. Common opponent, or common, it would be a common opponent. North Texas took Washington State to the woodshed. But Washington State took Ole Miss, Virginia to the wire.
Ole Miss.
But I do think this is one for James Madison. Because they could be in a scenario where they're comparing to North Texas. They need to at least put up big numbers. I don't think they have to have the same score, but they better win.
And Tom, the Florida State on the road in Raleigh is not just running through the ACC schedule. It's identifying another potential piece of this coaching carousel, because
the other thing that I think,
guys, I'm sorry, I don't. I think you're going to have them next year.
I do. The only thing I will say, and this is a very unique situation, but James Franklin negotiating down to a $9 million buyout does have Florida State fans, I think, kind of hopeful that they could do something similar. The problem is, I don't know if Mike Norvell is going to be that sought after in the open market.
James had a job waiting for him.
That's the problem. But I do think whatever his number is, he does have an offset as well.
None of the numbers are real.
Right.
We come at a record $245 million has been spent on buyouts. There are no real numbers. Like, there are some lump sums out there, but my understanding of the Norvell situation is it was always going to can be spread out, can be a line item. The problem is you just built a football only facility and renovated your stadium.
Correct.
Far more important game on Friday night than NC State, Florida State. Hawaii, UNLV.
Ooh, for the Mountain West title race, a little bit of an eliminator game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's the one I'll be watching the first half of.
And then going to sleep because we've got a long-ass day.
Long-ass Saturday ahead of us.
All right. Well, if you want to find out our best bets for Saturday, well, then come and hang out. Thursday, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, we will be giving you our Week 13 locks. And you can follow him on Twitter at Tom Fornelli. You can follow him at Danny Kanell. You can follow me at Chip_Patterson. Gentlemen, thank you very much.
Sources tell me thank you.